Hi, this is Mark Kemper with EMS. In this video, we're going to check out some of the accessories we use for 3D scanning and inspection. All right, so what we thought we would do in this video is kind of share with you some of the accessories and tools and different things we've kind of picked up through the last 20 plus years of doing this that we find help us be more efficient, also lets us scan and measure things more accurately, and we just wanted to share those with you today. And what we'll do is in the description below, we'll put timestamps, so if you want to jump around to different subjects, you can do that. Also, some of the stuff we're going to show you, we'll share links to the CAD files or the STL files for 3D printing. And we'll also share links to where you can purchase this stuff. These are not affiliated links. We just like to share this information with you. But like I said, over the last 20 plus years, we've just picked up a lot of different ways of doing things, a lot of different tools and accessories that just help us, whether it's in our office here or when we go out on site. We want to be quick, we want to be efficient, but we also need to make sure we're accurate and we capture all the data we need. Now, if you have any questions on any of this, below I've got our phone number and our email address. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. If you want to learn more about our 3D scanning and measurement services, or maybe you're looking at buying your own 3D scanner and want to set up like a virtual or in-person demo, you can also reach out to us at that number. But what we're going to go through is all the different accessories and tools we have kind of figured out over the last 20 years, and we want to share those with you. Okay, let's start and talk about PC stands. So this is especially important when you're going on site to a customer. We don't rely on them having something for us to put our PC on. Many times we're in a foundry or some manufacturing plant that's not clean. We're out on the shop floor somewhere. There's really not a great place to put our laptop. There may be high-lows and people coming and going all over the place. We don't want to put it on the ground because usually the ground is dirty and it's just hard bending over all the time. We don't want to just stack it on some boxes or something like that. So we always bring our own PC stand. And part of it is the PCs we use are very expensive. They're high-power PCs. They cost a lot of money, and we just don't want to get them damaged. So there's two options that I have here. This one is something you can buy on Amazon. It's got the tripod itself. It's got a holder for your mouse, and then of course for your laptop. And I'll put a link, but this will hold a 17-inch laptop in here. What's nice about this one is it's pretty portable, and especially if we're flying, we tend to take this one because we're usually taking an extra like Pelican case, and we're putting in there all of our targets. We're putting in there maybe spheres, depending on the scanner we're using. We're putting extension cords, just the things we need. So this fits in there very nicely. So this is a nice heavy-duty stand to take. When we're driving or here in the office, this is something newer we use. This uses a tripod, and the advantage of this is it's super steady. It's got the 75-millimeter ball head attachment that you see here on the back side of it, so that allows you to kind of adjust it. And basically we had this fabricated. I'll include the CAD file, so if you want to get this made, but somebody can laser cut this or water jet cut this out of a basically a piece of aluminum. We had it powder coated. We've got a spot for our mouse right here, and then we put a strap in here. We actually strap the PC down to this, and then we just have some other Velcro straps for all of our cables. So this setup here is very, very steady. So if you're out on that shop floor and you're worried about something getting knocked over, this is a really good setup. It's just not as portable. This is nice. The only problem with this is it's not as steady because the legs are they're much lower. It is kind of the tripod style, but when you have it fully extended and your PC on it, you just have to be a little more careful with this setup because it could get knocked over. But we're usually using these two. Sometimes also if we're local, we might bring just like a pop-up like plastic like card table. We've got another one we use that's very sturdy. Sometimes if they don't have a table for us to put parts on, we'll bring a table like that. But these two here are kind of go-to PC stands. All right, now let's talk about power, because no matter what, you need power. Your laptops, these high-performance laptops we use, you're lucky to get a couple hours off a battery because you're running them, full bore, doing scanning, processing. Those batteries just don't last. And of course, most scanners need power as well. So we really use one of these two options. Now, traditionally, we ran this generator, this small generator, all the time. The only thing you got to be careful with this is obviously indoors, unless it's well ventilated, or you can put this right outside the door. But sometimes we're scanning outside. We do large marine tooling, boats and stuff, and a lot of that stuff is outside. So this works great. It really will run forever because as long as you have some gas with you, you can keep filling it up. But what's really become popular over the last few years are these battery banks. This is a Jackery 500, and we can run the laptop and the scanner on this about 4 hours, okay? So that's great for a lot of projects we do. If we need more power, there's the 1000 version that'll last basically all day. And again, that's powering the laptop and the scanner. But you can get whatever brand you want, whatever size you want. But even if we're local and driving, you go into a lot of shops, they don't have power close by. We do a lot of work in airplane hangars. For whatever reason, there's just not power close by in those hangars. So then we're dragging cords, 100 feet, 200 feet. And that's just a real hassle, and then moving it around. So even when we're local, even if there's power fairly close by, we bring this, we put it right under that, the PC stand that we have, the tripod one. We just put this right underneath it. We plug in a power strip, and we've got power right there. We just don't have to worry about cords and tripping over them and dragging them. And a lot of these places we go into are just filthy. The cords just get really dirty and everything else. So either one of these options is great if you're just driving somewhere. If you're flying, obviously it's a different issue. If we're flying, we'll either rent a generator or sometimes we can arrange to have one of these on site if we really need it. If not, of course, we can just use power cords. But we really like these options, especially this nowadays with the amount of power you can get out of these battery packs. It just works out great. So these are a couple of our solutions when we need power. All right, now let's talk about fixturing or part holding. Now, unlike a traditional CMM, we don't necessarily need to have a part locked down in a 3-2-1 or a datum alignment system. The beauty about non-contact 3D scanning is the part can be in any orientation, any position you want. But what we have found through the years is it certainly makes sense to try to hold the part in a way that's going to be more efficient for your 3D scanning. So what I mean by that is many times if you have a thin part or a really small part where we can't put targets on it, something like that, we want to find a way to fixture it or hold it and be able to scan it. And a lot of times we want to try to set it up so we can scan the whole part in one setup. So we're not scanning, flipping it over, doing another scan and aligning it. If we can avoid that, we try to avoid it. So what we've got here is some of the different stuff we use. Now starting with, we've got some various fixture items, and these are all quarter 20 or the millimeter metric version of that. But this is all stuff you would buy for fixturing like you would for CMM or any kind of part holding. So we've got various posts, clamps, different brackets. This is something we use a lot. Really, it's a magic arm or helper arm, really used in photography. We'll use different clamps like this to hold a part, basically like you see here. So what I've done is I'm holding the part so that I can scan all the way around it. I can get under it, I can get on top of it. Now, what you're also looking at here is this little rotary table, and this is all pre-drilled with quarter 20 holes, and these rods have my targets on it. So the beauty of this, and you can see this in a lot of our other videos, is I can scan this part. The part's way too small to put targets on it, and of course a lot of scanners require targets. So with this setup, the scanner can see the targets in its field of view. They don't have to be on the part, and I can scan this part 360 and get everything I need in one setup. Because trying to scan a small part like this and do an alignment, especially since the part is symmetrical, right? All the blades, everything is how would you align those two data sets? Now, there are tricks to doing that, but just sticking with this setup, I don't have to worry about that. I can scan this whole part. And so I've got a table here with holes in it. This is a smaller one, but this one we'll travel with, because sometimes we go on site and we're scanning a bunch of little parts. We're going to bring this rotary table, and these are just half-inch aluminum stock bars, and then we've just threaded in a 1/4 20, basically like set screws, and then these can screw in the table anywhere you want, and we have them of different lengths. So this allows us to do a quick setup and scan different parts. Now, this is our smaller table, and then this one here is our larger one. This one we typically use here in the office. It's a little heavier duty, it's bigger, and it can hold a lot more weight. And again, I'll put the CAD files for these in the description below if you want to basically find a local shop that can cut this out for you and thread the holes. And then on the back, we just have, you know, a heavy-duty bearing here. I think they call this like a bookshelf bearing. So we have that on there so you can rotate. So the other nice thing, put this back down, is, you know, it allows me to stand in one position, slowly rotate the part, move up and down. So it's just way more efficient with a setup like this. I'm not trying to target the part. I've got a great way to hold it. It's very stable, and I can just move all the way around this part and scan it in one setup. So we're always trying to figure out a way to set up that part where it makes sense in one setup. So, and all this stuff we can travel with. This will fit into a Pelican case along with this and all our fixturing stuff, our rods, and we can go on site. And especially if we're doing a bunch of small parts, not everybody can send the parts to us. So if we've got to go on site and do it, this is typically the kind of setup we're going to take to basically hold our parts while we 3D scan them. Now let's talk about targeting, because targeting is a way of life with most non-contact scanners. Now, yes, there are scanners that don't require targets, and they basically do geometry-based alignment. But those scanners are just not accurate. If you're trying to do metrology grade or high accuracy scanning, you have to have targets. I don't care what anybody tells you, but this is the only way to do high accuracy, you know, high quality scanning, okay? So the good news is targeting has gotten easier through the years with some of these new products out there, or even just some homemade stuff. But we'll walk you through some of the stuff we use for targeting. And we'll start with these, what I call as pucks or half domes. Basically, it's just half a sphere with targets all the way around it. We've got a magnet on the back, so if there's something that's magnetic, we can stick it to it. If it's not magnetic, what we use are these little double sticky kind of foam pads. You can stick that on there, and of course stick it on whatever it is you're trying to scan, and that'll hold it. But we use these a lot on the ground or just up on top something. And the idea with these is as you're scanning, you can scan kind of around it. So they're great to get around corners or get up over the top of something because you have targets all the way around, okay? So these we just 3D print. I'll put a link to the file below, so if you want to, print these yourselves, and then you just buy a magnet if you want a magnet and glue in the magnet. So we have it for both the 12 millimeter targets and then also the 6 millimeter targets. Those are the two most common that we use. These are just the cases we use to travel with them. They just fit in there nice. So we've got lots of these, what I call half spheres for scanning. Something a little bit newer is these, what we call in 3D60 scans. Now, Creaform sells a product all made up for you. It has 39 of them in it. It's got a magnet on the bottom. These are for the 6 millimeter targets. And these are also really nice. Same kind of principle. You've just got a kind of another row on the bottom so you can get down even lower. And the other neat thing with these is Creaform software, if you're using a Creaform scanner, automatically detects these, deletes them out of the scan data, and does curvature hole filling where that was. So even if you put this on an area of the part that you're actually trying to scan, the software will remove it and fill it in for you. So this is a 6 millimeter you can get, and then we also made our own for the 12 millimeter targets. Pretty similar, obviously has less targets on it, but same size. And again, the Creaform software will remove it. This is something you can download and print as well. So you've got lots of different options here. We've also got our triangles, which again, you've probably seen these in lots of videos. They're great to just put in front of a part or down on the ground, or even we use these to hold a part up in the air to scan it. So these are great. These you just buy at Home Depot. They're in the paint department. You add some stickers or targets on it. Of course, we talked about the target bars that we use. Here's some a 1/2 inch. And we also have some 1 inch. On these, we have both 12 and 6 mil targets. And then, of course, you've got the adhesive style. Now, there's many different adhesives. There's different reflectivities that you can buy. Creaform now also sells them in a 2,000 count box at a really good price. So this is becoming a really hot seller for us for customers because they can save some money in this bulk packaging. And then, of course, we have our SpeedTarget tape. Now, this is an EMS product you can buy from us. This is basically targets on a thin Mylar type tape. You peel off the backing. It's got an adhesive. This is great for primarily things that are smooth, like cars, fiberglass molds, things like that. And you can reuse this. You can peel it off and put it back on because it's really a tough material. It's not going to rip, and you can reuse it over and over. So for some of our customers, this is great. Also for things like, let's say like a tube chassis, you can actually string this tape across the open areas, and that gives you a path to scan across where you have like big open voids. This is great because then you can kind of get from one spot to the next. So these are probably the most common targeting tools that we use in our kind of day-to-day activities. And obviously we pick the right targets. It depends a little bit on the scanner, depends on the type of project we're doing. We'll pick from an array of this different stuff when we do scanning. And obviously we have a lot of them in cases. That makes it just easy for us to grab what we need and go. It's all organized based on the type of target it is. So this is just a little bit about the way we use targets for 3D scanning. All right, let's talk about toolboxes or traveling with your gear or storing your gear. And there's really two setups. There's kind of a portable setup that we use when we're going out on the road, primarily if we're driving. When we're flying and we're having to check baggage or ship this stuff ahead of time, we tend to use more like Pelican cases. But if we're just driving out and about to a customer, we tend to use some of this stuff. Now, this is Milwaukee brand. You can use any brand you want. We're not sponsored by anybody. There's plenty of different brands out there you can use. But in Milwaukee, they call it the Pack Out. And what's nice is we have all different configurations of these for the targets, for different tools and stickers and all the different things. And again, what's nice about these is it's all configurable, right? So we've got this. We've got our Jackery battery pack in here. We can put that on here. And then we can just stack up what we're going to take out on the road with us. So that really makes these tools, these setups really nice for just being able to grab what we need. We keep everything in here when we come back from a job. We make sure everything is back so we kind of know what goes in what case. We just pack them up. If we're taking one of the smaller like handy scans, we just set it on top and we can wheel off and go to a customer. So these kind of setups are very nice for that kind of travel where you're just jumping in your car and driving out to a job site to do some scanning. Okay, so what about in your own shop? What setup do you want to use there? Now, Creaform used to sell a really nice rolling, basically toolbox that you could put all your stuff in, but they don't manufacture that anymore, unfortunately. So a lot of people have just come up with their own. Here's one of our customers who used the Milwaukee Pack Out system, and you can see what he's done for his GoScan Spark. So what he's done is configured it. He mounted a monitor on it. He's got some pop-up little tables on the sides, little extensions, and then he's used that Kaizen foam to do the cutouts for all his different accessories and the scanner. And then he's got drawers for his targets or whatever he wants. So that's kind of a semi-portable solution. But then other customers have bought more of a big, heavy-duty, mechanics toolbox And they've set that up. And you can mount a monitor on it. You can put a battery pack inside of it. You can put all your accessories. So if you're in especially a bigger shop where you want to be able to roll out to different areas of your plant, your manufacturing facility, and do scanning in different spots, then having a kind of a more permanent type toolbox is really nice. And again, there's lots of them you can buy and configure them the way you want. You can mount a big monitor on them if you want. You can have your scanner and all your accessories in those. But if you're doing a lot out on the shop floor, I would highly suggest you come up with a solution to do that so that everything is kind of protected. You can wheel it around. Maybe it's got its own power source, and off you go. So that's just a little bit on kind of storing your stuff, whether it's for going out in your car to a customer or more of a permanent solution out on your shop floor. Now, how about travel cases for your 3D scanner? Now, overall, at least for the Creaform products, the cases that the scanners come in are great, and there's no issues with them. But sometimes we need a little more room, or maybe we're going to ship it, and we want to maybe use a different case. So, for example, this is the standard case you would get with the Handy Scan, and like I said, it's great. And one really nice thing about this is it fits in the overhead, so you can carry it on a plane, you can put it in an overhead. But a lot of times we take this case. It's almost the same size. Obviously, it's taller and just a few inches wider. And it allows us to do a couple of things. One, if we're going to ship it, it's obviously just got more thickness to it. So we basically put some foam in the bottom. And then the foam for the scanner itself, let me open this up. This comes out anyways. This is removable because you need to get to your calibration plate underneath. So the great thing is we can literally just lift that up and put it inside this case. And we actually have a couple more inches over here on the side. We can put some more cables or other things. But this also allows us to either put more foam in the bottom with a cutout for the calibration plate, just like this one, but give us more cushion. So if we're going to ship this, because sometimes we're taking so much stuff to a customer and we're having to fly there that we pre-ship a lot of our equipment. It's just too much to take. Maybe we're taking multiple scanners and tripods or other things we need for like a laser tracker or something else. Because many projects, we're using multiple scanners, a long-range scanner, maybe this scanner, the Handy Scan, maybe the Handy Scan Max. So we can't obviously carry that all on the plane. So we'll ship it ahead of time. The other thing this case would allow you to do is put a laptop in here. You can actually have a cutout for a laptop. And this case will fit in the overhead on many airplanes. I'm not going to guarantee it on every plane, but we haven't had too many issues of carrying this onto the plane. Now, if there is an issue, the beauty is you can check this as baggage, and again, with it being just thicker and more foam in the bottom, it really makes it nice. So, we've done that for the Handy Scan. We've also done that for the Metroscan, where we've actually put the Metroscan in 3 cases just to kind of split it up a little bit more. So we basically isolate the C-track and the scale bars in one case, and then we use 2 other cases for the scan head, and then the controller and cables and all of that. So it just lightens up the load by spreading it out over 3 cases. But that's really up to you as a customer what you want to do. But we found going with some different cases, depending on what we're doing, can be very helpful. All right, next I want to talk about lanyards. Now, what's a lanyard? If you don't know, lanyard's something you can put on your wrist, and we use them with the Creaform scanners, and the Creaform scanners do come with a lanyard, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's fine. But if you're climbing up, somewhere high, or just really anytime you're worried about, the scanner slipping out of your hand, it's going to keep it from hitting the ground and getting damaged. And like I said, the Creaform one is fine. It's just a kind of a standard strap. Now, we tend to use these from Peak Design, and the reason we use these is 2 things. One, it has a quick release setup, and so you basically put this small piece on everything that you would want to be able to attach to. So obviously they're used a lot with cameras and video equipment. So you get a couple of these and then you can buy extras. So we put these on all of our scanners, and then it's this really nice quick release system to be able to just put it on and then push a button and take it off. So if we're constantly putting the scanner down, moving or doing something, and then putting it back on, we don't have to keep slipping our hand through the lanyard. Because what's nice about these straps is you put it on, you can pull it tight, and then you just kind of keep it. And the other nice thing is it has a magnet, so when you're not using it, you can just put it on, and it's almost like a wristwatch, right? So it's kind of out of the way when you're doing other things. You're ready to scan again, you just pull it around, you grab your scanner, this thing is on it, and you just clip it back in place, and off you go. So for just kind of a quick release system, we really like this. And there's probably other brands out there, but Peak Design is certainly well known for these and other types of straps. But this is the one we use the most, just to keep our equipment secure. Like I said, if we're climbing up somewhere, we always have it on. But even on the ground, if you were to drop your scanner even from a few feet, there's a good chance you're going to damage it. And have a whole lot of problems to deal with to get it fixed and everything else. So you don't want to do that. So we highly recommend, at minimum, use the one that came with your scanner. If you want something maybe a little more flexible, use something like this. So this wraps up the video on some of the different accessories we use for 3D scanning. It's certainly not everything we do. If we did that, I think this video would probably be about 4 hours long. But these are the major things that we have found through the years that are really helpful for us when we go out and do a job, whether it's out at a customer site or even here in our shop. These are just the things we use the most. Now, if you have any questions on what you saw, certainly feel free to reach out to us. Our phone number is 877-845-2700, or you can certainly send us an email at info@ems-3d.com. If you're interested in one of our 3D scanning technologies and want a demo, we can do that virtually. We can do that in person. If you're interested in maybe a 3D scanning or inspection project, happy to talk to you about that as well. But as I said earlier, we're not sponsored. We don't have affiliated links. There's nothing in this for us. This is just how we do things and the products we use. You can certainly come up with your own ideas. And if you do have some good ideas, it would be great to share those in the comments below for other people as well. So I'd love to hear what other people are doing, tricks, techniques, accessories they use to make their 3D scanning life either easier, more efficient, faster, more accurate, whatever it may be. If you've got some great ideas, put them in the comments below. But again, this wraps up the video on 3D scanning accessories.